What makes the Battle of Thymbra so interesting is that it demonstrates the tactical genius of one of the greatest conquerors to have ever existed. Cyrus II, Cyrus the Great, who was really the OG great guy, right? Before you ever had Alexander, before you ever had Julius Caesar, you had this guy. And the reason that he's such a legendary figure is that during this time, during the 6th century BC, he's busy building together the largest empire the world had ever seen. This Achaemenid empire at its peak it's bigger than anything that had come before it. It would be bigger than the Egyptians, bigger than the Hittites, the Babylonians. It's just a different beast in terms of size and scope. Now, in the year 547 BC, Cyrus adds a puzzle piece to this behemoth that he's constructing. He adds the Lydians. He adds the Lydian Empire, a small but rich and powerful empire at the time. They're located in what is current-day Western Anatolia in Turkey. And at this battle, which takes place in Lydia, Cyrus will break this Lydian army by executing a tactic of divide and conquer. He puts together this symphony of ideas using clever formation of his men, using scythed chariots, which are like normal war chariots, but they have these scythes attached on the wheels. And you can imagine moving at the speed of a horse that these blades would just absolutely shred and mangle bodies without even having to make direct contact. But he also makes creative use of a special camel division. And at the end, he even manages to sprinkle a little diplomacy. The reason that Cyrus is combining all these different elements and ideas is because he's greatly outnumbered at this battle. But he says, look, if I can find a way to separate this Lydian center and flanks and defeat them piece by piece, one by one, then I may actually stand a chance to win this battle. Now, before I go into any more detail about Cyrus and his plan, let me first introduce the home team a little here. At this battle, the Lydians are led by their king, King Croesus, shown here. He has about 105,000 men arranged in a fairly standard manner. His center here is held by Egyptian spearmen. At the time, Lydia was allied with Egypt, so they sent him a couple of divisions. His flanks here are held by Lydian cavalry, and they're probably King Croesus's biggest strength at this battle. Greek historian Herodotus calls the Lydian cavalry superb and says of the Lydians in general that they're one of the most courageous and warlike races in Asia at the time. The Lydians also happen to have 300 war chariots at this battle as well. Now, the Lydian plan at this battle is quite straightforward. If you've watched any of my videos before, you know that usually when you have a numerical advantage with a strong flank, the center will push forward like this, with the cavalry attacking the flank in an attempt to envelop and surround the Persian forces. Easy, right? Well, not if Cyrus has something to say about it, and he certainly does. Because what Cyrus does at the start of the battle is he arranges this infantry that he has in a box-like formation. Cyrus, by the way, at this battle is outnumbered almost 2-to-1. He has about 45,000 men. But this infantry that he has, instead of arranging it in a line like this, he arranges them in a box. And by the way, this infantry includes the 10,000 elite immortals. some of the best heavy infantry at this era. So they're formed in this box-like formation. Behind his infantry lay his siege towers between 3 and 5, as well as his archers. The Persian archers are some of the best at this time, and they're really the backbone of the Persian army, able to rain hundreds of arrows onto the battlefield. Now, Cyrus has also placed his cavalry and his chariots in a withheld flank position here. His 500 Scythe chariots that he has in this battle are really the only true quantifiable advantage that Cyrus has. They are positioned here on the withheld flanks with the cavalry, but he's also placed a division at the front here at the vanguard. Now, at the start of the battle, it's the Lydians that attack first. The flanks here quickly enveloping this box formation. But in doing so, they leave the center behind, right? They leave this Egyptian center behind. This formation, whilst easy to surround, it ends up creating a gap here. You see this gap that ends up forming? But this box formation also helps keep the archers safe from any sort of flanking maneuver that the Lydians were attempting. At the same time, Cyrus has this distance that he's created here widened and exacerbated even further. His chariots that were at the front, that were holding the vanguard, suicidally charge this approaching Egyptian center, knocking them back and buying Cyrus some time. This sacrifice that they do is not in vain though, because this buys time, not only for the Persian archers here sat atop their siege towers to concentrate fire on the cavalry, but for Cyrus to spring his trap. You see, one of Cyrus's generals had pointed out that the scent of camels alarmed and disoriented Lydian horses. So what he had done is he had some of these camels that he'd used to carry his supplies and turned them into a makeshift anti-cavalry unit that rode out into the flanks where these Lydian cavalry were now engaged with the Persian infantry. And upon arriving, they caused absolute chaos. The horses go nuts and throw their riders into the ground, and now the Lydian men are forced to dismount and fight on foot. And this was the sign that Cyrus was waiting for, because what he's successfully done at this point is divided the flanks from the center, and now the coup de grace comes. He orders his cavalry and chariots that had been waiting in the wing to come crashing down upon the weakened Lydians and crush them with ease. This Persian cavalry then surround the Egyptian phalanx that now stood alone, while a lot of other generals would simply kill this Egyptian force. Cyrus was a different kind of guy. He was a smart guy, a chess player. He thought to himself, I still have the city of Sardis, this Lydian capital, to siege after I'm done here. Why waste men, arrows, supplies, killing these people, when I can strike a deal instead, when I can work some of my magic? So Cyrus talks to this Egyptian division. He tells them, look, I don't want to kill you guys. You're not here defending your land. You're not here fighting for Egypt. So go home, don't die on this field. The Egyptians take some time to think about it. They say, sure, we'll lay down our arms, but can you please not make us fight our allies? Can you please not make us fight King Croesus? Cyrus goes, yeah, sure, no problem. I can handle him. I've already handled you guys, haven't I? So the Egyptians go home, right? They lay down their weapons, they go home, and Cyrus successfully wins the battle. He'd go on to siege the city of Sardis, capture it, and absorb this entire Lydian, empire into his own. And that's the Battle of Thymbra. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed watching how to turn a defensive position with fewer men into an offensive one. If you can like and subscribe as always, that means so much to me. And of course, the feedback, the good, the bad, I always appreciate it. Thank you, and I'll see you next time.